Hey everyone, AA Ron here with a quick update on the airline hiring landscape for 2024. We'll see which airline is leading the race in seniority since April, dive into the latest hiring trends at United, Delta, and American, and despite the industry's challenges, I'll share whether now is a good time to pursue a career in professional aviation. So stay tuned. My name is Aaron Mathis, and I'm currently a first officer for United Airlines in the Boeing 757 and 767, or as we affectionately call it, the 756. I'm also a pilot interviewer and volunteer aviate coach, and I would like to welcome you guys to the Pilot Pulse channel. Firstly, I'm going to apologize for falling off tempo with uploads lately. I've been working full-time, got married to an amazing woman named Ariel, and yes, I know that's kind of ironic, but forget about that. Well, then we went back home to Alabama to see my family for a week. Then we went on a 2-week around-the-world honeymoon to Malaysia and Dubai and had an incredible time. Well, as soon as we got back from that, I had a 3-day trip to Hawaii, backed up by recurrent training, and then super sad to say that my dad passed away just shortly after that. So with all that being said, it's been a super busy summer for me, but I do promise to get back to a higher upload tempo since life will hopefully now be returning to somewhat of a normalcy for me. Today's updates will give everybody clarity on what the remainder of the year looks like for legacy airline pilot hiring, who is still hiring, and exactly what seniority progression could look like if hired at one of these specific airlines. So if you haven't already checked out my previous video from my original April update, I highly recommend that you check that out first. Since my previous update, where we had 4 big players in the industry currently hiring, American Airlines has since dropped completely out of the race, shaking up the numbers quite a bit by canceling new hire classes for the remainder of the year and indicating that they would revisit the idea of resuming classes no earlier than Q1 of 2025, citing delivery delays from Boeing and Airbus as the leading cause for the pilot hiring pause. Now let's take a look at how the race is playing out for the remainder of the year, where the start of the race assumes someone gets hired on August 1st of 2024 and what number and percentage that person would end up within each company by the end of the year. To start with, Delta Airlines has 17,261 pilots on property and expects 258 retirements this year while adding only 312 pilots by new hire classes by the end of the year. This means that someone starting class on August 1st would end the year by being number 17,003 out of a total of 17,315 pilots on property. This gives that person a 1.8% advancement throughout the remainder of the year, putting them at 98.2% relative seniority of the entire pilot group. United Airlines has 17,219 pilots currently on property and expects 203 retirements this year, while adding over 800 new pilots by new hire classes by the end of this year. This means that someone starting class on August 1st would end the year by being number 17,016 out of a total of 17,816 pilots on property. This gives that person a 4.5% advancement throughout the remainder of the year, putting them at 95.5% relative seniority of the entire pilot group. UPS, on the other hand, has 3,206 pilots on property and expects approximately 30 retirements this year while adding over 185 new pilots by new hire classes by the end of this year. This means that someone starting class on August 1st would end the year by being number 3,176 out of a total of 3,361 pilots on property. This gives that person a 5.5% advancement throughout the remainder of the year, putting them at 94.5% relative seniority of the entire pilot group. American Airlines has 17,086 pilots on property and expects somewhere around 389 retirements this year, while now adding 0 pilots via new hire classes by the end of the year. This scenario indicates that American's pilot group will actually contract by the number of retirements for the remainder of the year, ending the year at a total pilot group size of probably around 6,700 total pilots. Now, the important thing to remember when looking at all of these numbers of new hires this is not just the sheer number of the new hires, although people think that does look pretty sexy sometimes. The important thing is how many pilots will be hired against the total number of pilots on property. This is why when comparing the total amount of pilots, you'll see a larger percentage increase within the pilot group, even though it may actually be hiring less pilots. In such case, we can look at UPS Airlines. It actually is winning the seniority race so far for the year of 2024, since it's hiring the largest percentage compared to the pilot group, where someone hired August 1st will advance 5.5% by year's end, where United is in second place at an estimated 4.5% seniority gain by year's end. Delta is in third place with an estimated 1.8% advancement by year's end. For comparison, in my previous seniority comparison video, American was actually planned to have the second best seniority advancement of all 4 airlines just a few months ago, but now it has fell into last place because of the freezing of classes altogether. Now, this is a stark reminder of how volatile the career is, and ultimately a reminder that truly the best airline is the airline that hires you first. New hire projections for the remainder of the year put Delta Airlines at 312 total new hires, United at 800, American at 0, and UPS at 185. Now, percentage-wise, this means that of the 1,297 pilots hired at legacy carriers in the industry for the remainder of the year, United will account for 62% of the industry, Delta will account for 24% of the industry, and UPS will account for 14% of the industry. Now, with just 3 big players in the airline pilot hiring race for this year, being UPS, Delta, and United, this follows the industry trend where there has been a lot of unfortunate news within the industry lately, with more airlines like Piedmont and American recently announcing the canceling of classes for the remainder of the year, and furloughs being announced at airlines like Spirit, Wheels Up, and Mesa Airlines as well. My thoughts go out to those pilots and their families that are being currently affected by the furloughs. As of the making of this video on July 30th, these are the airlines that are currently still hiring in all of their respective bases. Now, something to keep in mind is that even though these airlines are, quote, hiring, they are likely hiring at a far reduced rate, hiring exclusively through pathway programs, or may even be hiring for class dates 12 to 15 months out. So keep things in perspective. The word hiring can be a really ambiguous word where the act of interviewing and holding classes is the part of the equation that truly matters. Airlines can give handshakes, but those really don't mean much if you can't get a class date. So always do your research when trying to find out if an airline is truly doing full process hiring or just, building up a talent pool to draw from when the time comes that they're ready to actually onboard new hires. My closing thoughts are that this industry is so super volatile and the landscape is ever changing. With that, it's absolutely impossible to predict the future, so the best place to always be is prepared. I have a big update to announce in my next video with regards to hiring minimum, so be sure to subscribe to get that next big update in a week or so. I hope you all enjoyed all these data points and updates to the hiring industry. If you want to know more about the career and are very interested in pursuing professional aviation, or are in the time building or rating attaining phase and interested in seeing how much pilots can make in a career or what progression of a career looks like at a legacy, then I highly recommend checking out my most previous video titled Legacy Pilot Total Career Earnings to see how much one could make if starting a career with a legacy airline like United Airlines, for example, or other things like how long it would take to become a 757 first officer or an Airbus A320 captain at United, and maybe every single possible combination of bases. Please be sure to like the video if you like this type of content, and subscribe if you want to follow for more future updates as things continue to evolve and be reshaped throughout the industry. Always feel free to ask me any questions down in the comments that you would like to know about with regards to hiring or the industry, and I'll always do my best to answer all questions and respond to all comments. Videos like this are a lot of work, and I'm doing all of the research, all of the scripting, all the recording, creating, editing, publishing, so if you enjoy my content, then seriously, give me a like and a subscribe. It helps a ton. Thanks so much for watching the Pilot Pulse channel. I'm Aaron, as an Aaron, and I hope you all fly safe and keep chasing those tailwinds.